Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkbutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. We are going to be making a version of this card today, so I thought this would be nice for, you know, a really nice special celebration, whether that be a big birthday or a wedding, engagement, anything like that. So this is what we're going to be making a version of today. So I've got some nice gold heat embossing, and we've got some lovely pink florals coming through on the card. So the set we're going to be using is the beautifully celebrated stamp set and dies. These are available online. Okay, and these great big sentiments, you know, they're really cool, and they emboss really nicely. Brilliant for scrapbook pages because they're huge, and look at the size of those leaves as well. You know, so the packaging kind of is a little deceptive in that they are huge elements. So yeah, great for scrapbook pages as well, because they'll fill up those pages really nicely. And the dies are awesome too, because you've got these lovely nesting shapes, which we're not using today, okay, but this die here is the one we're using for the corners there. Okay, so I'll show you that in a minute. And then the florals I've actually taken from the Fragrant Layers dies. So we've got an open flower, which is the one that we're using just for that sort of delicate sort of touch, but there is a solid flower as well, and there's also these wonderful leaf dies as well. So that's what we're doing today, mixing up some oldies but goodies, and yeah, they're really nice. So I have done a fair bit of the die cutting already, because there is so much to do on this one. We'll do a little bit, but not tons. So I've already done some of the flowers just on plain white willow cardstock. This is, so I've got 4 already, we'll need another one, and I have saved the centers, okay, so that we can pop those back in. I've also done some of the leaves, so there's one die that does a triple leaf, and then there's 2 that do a double like that, so we'll need another set of those as well. And then this is this corner die. Okay, so the die is a single one, but it cuts out 2 elements. Okay, cuts them apart, because you're going to use them in pairs, if not in 4s. Okay, so I just did cut that twice, again from white willow cardstock. Okay, and they come out really easy. It looks really fiddly, but it's a really nice die. Okay, these are the layers that we're going to use today. Okay, so slightly different dimensions for this panel. This one's the same ish, no, it's a bit wider. Okay, let me give you this. I think it's 4.5 long. Yeah, 4.5 by, okay, that's just over 2.5, sorry, 1.5. Okay, could make it 1.5 just to make it a nice round number. Okay, still might trim it. Okay, and then this panel will be 5 3/4 because it's a full width, and I ended up cutting this down to 3.25. Okay, so it's a bit wider than the one that I used on the sample card. Okay, just wanted to have a look at a different set of dimensions on it, really. Okay, so before we get stuck into layering, let's do a little bit more die cutting. We need another flower and another set of leaves, so we'll just run these through quick, just so that we've got them, so they'll fit quite nicely. You know, great opportunity to use scraps with these smaller dies as well. So raid your scrap bin, get those little bits out, and make use of those. So just popping those onto that cutting plate to make that cut as efficiently as possible, just to get those leaves. So we'll just do that. and run that through. And we'll just lift those out so all those have come out clean, apart from that one. That one's come out clean. Let me find my pokey tool. We've got another set of those. And some more of those. May not need all of them, but that's fine because they can just stay in your little you know, keep them to one side for another project. In fact, that's what I did with the sample. I already had some die cut, so I just used those. And again, I'm just going to keep the center, okay, and then just release that detailed portion. So I've got 5 flowers in total. Odd numbers always look better to the eye, so which is one of them things. Let's put those back on my magnetic needle keeper. I use it like a needle keeper to just keep those dies all in one place, okay, and then we can pop them away once we're done. Okay, so let's get our stamping and heat embossing done. So this smaller panel, it's going to grab the my heat embossing stuff. We're going to use silver instead of gold this time. Don't forget to pop some anti-static on there because we don't want that any stray bits of embossing on there. And this is all with white willow. The and then the card base will be thick basic white. Okay, so we'll use clear Versamark ink to ink up the sentiment. This is, like I say, it's very large stamp, so I'm going to take the ink pad to the stamp this time. Using this large block. This is actually one that's no longer available, but I have it, so I'm using it. So you may want to use the stamping positioner instead, or you can use the large F block. I'm just going to grab an E block and just see whether that actually fits on there or not. It's too long for an, oh, you might, no, I think you'll think it's too long for an E block. Right, let's pop that out of the way just for a second. Okay, so we've inked that up. Try not to handle it too much while I just shuffle it across. Oh, don't tell me I've got it too short. Ah, got it too short. Right, don't use that piece. Let's just grab, there we go. I have a scrap here. Right, so forget that dimension that I just told you. I don't know, yeah, I cut it too short. Aha. Right, let's just make sure that's not dried on the stamp, so let's just do that again, and we'll cut it down with the trimmer afterwards and see what we end up with. Right, but I am going to pop it in as close to the bottom as possible. It's quite a nice straight edge, a bit of fluff. It's a nice straight edge, so just eyeball that, line it up. Like I say, if you want to use the stamping positioner, you can. So we'll just give that nice firm pressure. Let that hold for a second and lift that up. And then we'll bring in the tray. And like I say, we're going to use silver powder on this one. This is a nice big piece, so we don't need to use the tweezers. There we go, just tap that on and tap off the excess. And just make sure we've got all of those little bits and pieces. So Sometimes a couple of applications is good because you knock stuff off and then you just want to put some back over the top, but that looks good enough to me. Okay, that's not going to go anywhere just for a second, so we'll make sure we tidy up. Use the little funnel on there to tidy away that powder, and then we will heat that up. And what I shall try and do is try and do it while it's on in the camera view, and not burn my fingers, of course. So as you can see, at the moment there is no shine on that whatsoever. It's just a dull grey, but when we heat set that, it'll melt into a lovely shiny silver element. So I'm going to heat up the tool. It will be a little bit loud, and so if you need to, just mute your video just for a second. How lovely does that look? So hopefully I'll manage to keep that enough in the shot so that you could see that. Okay, and we'll just allow that to cool a little bit. Okay, and pop everything away. I'll keep everything in that little tool, in that tray, so that then everything's there when I need it. So we're going to need some scrap paper just to do a little bit of inking. Okay, so this is the background panel that we're going to be using, and I'm going to use the sort of light purples, and yeah, I think I'm going to use Highland Heather. Don't use Highland Heather that much. I don't know why. Well, because it's a beautiful colour. But anyway, let's just pop just a hint of that around the edges. So it's super soft, but it will just help it lift a little from the white card base. So it's going to make all the difference once we get everything else on there done. Okay. We also want to put some ink onto our flowers. So I'm using a small blending brush, by the way, rather than the big ones. And I'm just going to use that brush to add some ink to the centre there. I'm not looking for perfect. I just want to pop some colour in there. Okay. Sorry about if there's any background noise. I have got it's absolutely roasting boiling, so I have got my window open, and of course everyone's doing the garden. Okay, so radio. I would much rather be inside out of this hot sun. There we go. So got some nice subtle blending across those flowers. Okay, and these little centers I'm actually going to use. This is obviously going to be way too cumbersome to do any sort of blending over the top of those, so what I'm actually going to do is grab the Stampin' Blends marker that coordinates and a pokey tool of some description, yep, and I'm just going to colour those in. So it's an extra step, but I think doing it this way, you know, you'd have to have cut the whole flower from like coloured cardstock, and we were going for something a little bit more subtle, so did only takes a minute just to do that. So we've got our little flower centres there, so they can just dry over there. Okay, right, so we haven't finished with the ink yet because we need to cut down this element. So we'll grab the trimmer, and I've got aeroplanes going over. It's funny how you don't notice these things, and the minute you want things to be quiet, that's what happens. Right, so what's that coming out as? Is that coming out as 1 1/4? 1 1/4, that looks like. Okay, and that's a decent scrap. And then we're just going to eyeball this. I'm going to line it up so that that embossing is literally just the other side of that cutting track, so it's nice and tight. Cute little scrap, and then we'll twizzle that around and do the same, and it comes out, so that looks like it might be around 4 5/8 ish. Yeah, 4 5/8. That's ended up being, by what did I say, 1 1/4. Yeah, 1 1/4, and that gives you what a strip that just hugs that just nicely. Okay, also going to pop a little bit of, just a hint, just going to use the residual ink on here just to go around that a little bit. Not even, it's barely there, but it will make the difference when you put things together, just trust me. Okay, it's hard to see on the video, but that's really helping that pop out now. Okay, so next we need to add our decorative corners to this, and we're still going to add some more ink after that. So here's our decorative corners. Okay, and I just want to make sure we're getting all this nicely lined up, so I'm just going to pop those on there like so, and then just double check everything's going to look good. Yeah, I think that will just sit nicely in there. Okay, that's fine. Lovely jubbly. Right, so a little bit of we're going to have to use the liquid adhesive for this because it's quite a small element, but there are some nice little glue places on here, so there's a couple of places there, and you can just sort of squeeze some bits in between those little sections there. So this is it's cut to the width of a card, so you don't want to be going over the edge, if that makes sense. I'm just going to leave a block on that just for a second. Okay, so just some dabs of glue. You don't need lots of this stuff, it's really strong glue, so just a couple of dabs just to make sure that it's secured in key places. Okay, and then you can just pop stamp blocks on there, or whatever, something on there, whatever you have. If you work on a magnetic surface, you might have magnets that will do the job as well, which mine is, so I can just pop a magnet on there as well, and that will hold that in place just for a minute or two. I'm not worried about these little edges, I think that looks just sort of adds a little bit of texture to it, and once everything else is on there you ain't going to notice anyway. Okay, so whatever your preference is, low tech, high tech, whatever, just hold those in place just for a minute while the glue just firms up. Okay, so you can do either or, whatever. Okay, just while those dry. Okay, you just want to hold those just for a sec. And a block's quite cool because you can just give that a quick sort of rub over as well, provided it's clean, of course. don't use dirty blocks. Use nice clean blocks. And just make sure that's set. Okay, because we want to be able to pop some ink over the top of those as well, just to bring out that embossing just a little bit. Okay, so those will do. So bring back our scrap paper. And our brush. And we'll just pop a little bit over the top of there. And you can go as, you know, add as much as you want to bring out that pattern. You could also use a contrasting colour if you wanted to have something else. If it's for a wedding, then obviously you could make it match the event, or a special birthday. Sometimes they've got themes, haven't they? Like, you know, the balloons and stuff are all sort of themed and whatever. Or it's just the recipient's favourite colour, you know. Okay, so that's our panel, which we can now pop onto our card. I don't think we need any more ink, so let's pop that out the way just in case there's a mishap. So on the sample, I actually popped this on so it was high on the card, but I think this one's going to go central, so we'll just use some seal to pop that into place. And again, don't have to go all the way to the edges on everything. Save those extra centimeters of glue. Okay, just press that into place now. Okay, our sentiment is going to go on with dimensionals, so we'll just grab some of those. Don't want black ones, I want white ones. There we are. And I'm going to pop these not too close to that to the edge, because I want room to pop, you know, the florals and the leaves around it. I think we'll probably need a couple in the middle just to give it a bit of support, because it's quite a long strip. Don't want a saggy middle, do we? Okay, so we'll lift those off. Don't know why I was trying to do that in the air when I know for a fact it's easier when it's flat. If you want some wriggle room, a little dab of glue on there will help with that. And let's make sure it's the right way up. Now you've got loads of registration points, if you like, on this, because those die cuts have got different elements showing here and there. So but with that glue on there, you've just got those extra moments just to make sure you've got that where you want it. Probably could have left it full width, to be fair, but you know, it's fine. We've got opportunities to decorate that. So you see how I'm trying to eyeball these little spots and just make sure that they are even-ish. Okay, and again, you could pop the block over the top there. Just make sure that's nice and flat and well in position before you start adding any extra, if you want to. Obviously, while we're filming, that's a little tricky, so we'll just be careful. Okay, so again, because of the nature of these, we'll have to use the wet glue, but the little, I don't know what you call those bits between the petals, a reasonable size, just to get some dabs of glue on. And as long as that centre makes contact with the card, and again, you can use something to help you just press that down for a minute, because it's going to be on all that texture. As long as it's got, oops, 2 at a time, somewhere to grab, we're good. Okay, so those blobs are really big, and then we'll pop that in underneath there, like so. And again, you know, you just want to just press that slightly just to make sure it's in contact with everything. And we'll do the same in the bottom corner. So we're using odd numbers. 3 didn't seem like enough. Felt like it needed more. So it's getting more. And again, you can maybe pull those a bit further apart, and then have one more central and between them. And you can, you know, obviously before you commit to any glue, you can sort of, you know, mess about with the placement. What I didn't do was shape them. Just squeeze them a bit in your fingertips and they'll shape up nicely as well. That's cute. So it's all so pretty. It's all so pretty. Okay, so the bit where you're thinking, gosh, this is a bit over the top. Where did I put my take your pick? There it is. I'm going to use the putty tool on the take that you pick to pop these centres back in. They are a really weird shape, so you know, just take your minute just to eyeball those. So what I'm going to do is pop some dabs of glue. I don't know why I'm trying to do it right-handed. Okay. The little beads of glue are going in there. It's not going to dry that quick, but you need to be concerned about it drying up, but you don't want to hang about either. Right, so once you think you've got it in the right position, you can drop that in to there. And if you need to, use your pokey tool to settle that back in. So you're just going to have to look for a reference point. So there's like a sort of, one of the little points is sort of quite rounded, and that tends to be my reference point. Kind of hoping that my head's not getting into the shot here. No, that's not the right one. That's it, got it. It's there. So you can sort of twizzle it around a little bit in your with your pokey tool. Okay, got it. It's there. Okay, or you can skip this altogether and just put a gem in there. Okay. That one just needs a bit more pressure. I'll hold that down just for a sec. There we go. Right. And if you want to, you can add some like Wink Stella or stuff, or more stuff. But now we're just going to add the leaves that we want. So again, there's a little spot on the back there that's big enough for some little blobs of glue, so you can slot that in where you need to. Trim as required. So I want this to go under these a little bit. Oops. That stuff's not set properly, which is why it's moving around, but obviously, you know, in your own craft room you can take a bit more time over this, allow things to dry, and make sure you get in your positioning where you want it. It's overhanging a little more than I'd want, but we'll live with it for now. I want some hit the side of here as well, because I've got those spaces. Come on, sort of here as well. Ooh, way too much glue on there. It's not looking for symmetry per se, but you know, you want it to look kind of tidy. I do have one more leaf, but I don't know whether I need it really. I don't actually leave that. So I've got one spare leaf that I can pop into that little tub of scraps. Or I shouldn't say the scraps actually. I should put extra bits that may be useful. That's another point. Okay, so I'm not going to add any gems or anything. I'm just going to leave it as that, but obviously you could bling it up with, so I think rhinestones would be great with this one. Or you could use some of the coloured pearls. We've got pearls in the in colours or whatever. So the, in fact, the ink I used on this was the Barely Blush. I could use those. Okay, so yeah, there we go. There's two versions of the same card, using the Beautifully Celebrated bundle and some of the flowers from Fragrant Layers. There we go, got there in the end. It's nice, isn't it? It's very pretty, very pretty. That's it from me today. As always, the links to everything that I've used today are in my description, so they'll take you straight to the online shop and you can just add to basket. Don't forget that if you sign up and you know, create an account, you can start collecting Stampin' rewards. It's always a good time to be a demonstrator, because there's stuff, you know, joining offers and things like that all the time. And obviously being a demonstrator means that you're part of the Stampin' Up community and access to all sorts of things and some sneak peeks. So that's it from me today. Hope you've enjoyed the project. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye bye.